Fellow constitutional lawyers, I want to share an update with you on a video that I posted on Friday talking about Joe Helle. He's the Ohio veteran who is a mayor of Oak Harbor, Ohio, and he's running for the legislature out in Ohio, and he's sort of become the poster boy for Common Cause and Let America Vote on this Ohio voter purge case. And basically on Friday what I talked about was how he's being disingenuous and how the Ohio law is actually following the National Voter Rights Act. The Sixth Circuit Court didn't read the whole act and decided that it wasn't constitutional for Ohio to do what they're doing, or wasn't legal, even though the National Voter Rights Act said they could. So maybe they were putting the National Voter Rights Act on trial as well. And we shared a little bit on Friday also in another video where it seemed like the Supreme Court was very sympathetic to the Ohio law on trying to keep the voter rolls purged and try to keep them fairly accurate. And the numbers are quite significant of the folks that they actually removed from the voter rolls in Ohio. And if the numbers were true and all of them, and let's say there's just a couple that were a mistake, okay, but if the numbers are true, they needed cleaned up. They really did. They were in bad shape. But anyway, on basically, I found this article, and I just wanted to update you. I found this over the weekend after I posted that story about Joe Helle. This is from Cleveland.com by Stephen Koff, and it was posted and updated the same day on January 12th, which would have been last Friday. Contrary to video impressions, Jon Husted had nothing to do with Army vets' voter registration purge. Now, I'm just going to read the first part of this article here, and I'm going to be referring back and forth to the video that I posted on Friday on this. Okay. Washington, the crowd at the U.S. Supreme Court shouted shame, shame at Jon Husted after Oak Harbor Mayor Joe Helle accused the Ohio Secretary of State of denying the right to vote to military veterans like him. Helle, who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, said he returned home from service in 2011 and learned he had been taken off the voter rolls. His circumstances were similar to those of a Navy veteran from Portage County, Larry Harmon, and Harmon's general accusation that Husted is violating constitutional rights by aggressively directing county boards of elections to clean up their voter rolls and purge inactive voters. It is at the heart of the Supreme Court case. Helle is not involved directly with the case, but became the focus of media attention during a rally outside the High Court Wednesday while justices heard oral arguments inside. Helle put a public face to the issue for the media when he recalled crying right there on the spot upon learning he could not vote unless he re-registered. Oh, I'm going to faint away. Oh, I got to re-register. I got to do something to correct the situation on my own, right? Okay. To be told as a U.S. serviceman that served his country faithfully that he can go and defend the right to vote but not exercise it himself, it broke my heart, Helle said. And it's because of Husted's policies like this that it is not good for our state, and it's not good for veterans like me. But, and here's the big but, folks. But Husted had nothing to do with Helle's voter registration removal. Records show the entire process of removing Helle was handled by the Ottawa County Board of Elections while Husted's predecessor, Jennifer Brunner, was Secretary of State. Records from the county and state show Cleveland.com obtained the records to confirm this. Brunner, like Helle, is a Democrat and Husted is a Republican. Husted is now running for Ohio Lieutenant Governor. Helle is running for the state legislature. The political overtones and the public accusations are inescapable. So we see here we have this veteran, this combat veteran, and that's his picture there if you're watching YouTube. Joe Helle, he's a mayor of Oak Harbor now, and he's running for the state legislature, claiming that he'd been wronged. Now, okay, whether he'd been wronged or not as a veteran, what he should be fighting for is maybe get an amendment to the law saying unless you're on active duty service. But even then I've been doing some research on this, and states, overseas personnel, whether you're in combat or not, get notification of their absentee ballots or whatever, and they can email and request them. And he voted before this. You know, there's all sorts of stuff coming out about this story that just makes him look bad. Okay, and I actually got in contact with him on Twitter, and I actually, real quick here on Twitter, let me open up the whole conversation. It was a thinkprogress.org posting. It felt pretty bad to be a veteran and to be told, hey, you can't vote because you couldn't visit the polling places easily from Iraq and Afghanistan. I was kind of crushing and heartbreaking. And this is from Joe Helle. And again, there's processes they go through. Emailing you. They sent mail. Who was taking care of his mail while he was at home or wasn't at home? His parents, girlfriend, whatever. They didn't let him know. Again, there's a lot of steps that were going on here that were missed by Helle or one of his representatives, okay, while he was in the service. Like I said, maybe that part of the law maybe they need to address and put that in the law about especially combat personnel. Okay, but I digress a little bit. I made the comment, there was 3-month period between August 2011 and November 2011 when Joe knew there was a problem but didn't fix that problem. It would have been an easy fix, but for some reason he chose not to fix the problem. Well, then I wasn't expecting to get a direct reply back from him, but he replied to I actually retweeted it and put that comment in, and he said, except I was told it was their mistake and not to worry about it. Okay, told by who? And we'll get to that in a second. I said, so you bear no responsibility in the 3-month period from August 2011 to November 2011 to fix your status. Ohio was following the NVRA, and they may need to change it for overseas military personnel. May need. I don't know. You know, that's something that needs to be discussed, okay? Joe Helle. I was told by a poll worker it had to be a mistake and not to worry about it. So no, I bear no responsibility for this. And then my final, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet, and my final reply to him was, have you ever heard of trust but verify? Aren't poll workers volunteers? How would they know for sure if it was a mistake? So it's somebody else's fault. And so, again, and I hate to say this, but he sounds like a typical Democrat. It's somebody else's fault. Can't be my fault. It's somebody else's fault. They told me on August 2011 it was a mistake. Don't worry about it. And so he waited 3 months without even verifying that. Now, I hope if he was in command of men and women over there in the battlefield, that he didn't rely on other people and their mistakes, that he would trust them but verify and make sure things got done. Either he verified through them or had the person that he gave the order to verify that it was taken care of. It's called trust but verify. And aren't poll workers volunteers anyway? Again, how would they know? How would they know it's a mistake? And if you thought that much of voting that you actually literally cried, you literally cried on finding out that you couldn't vote. Seems to me you would have checked into it between that 3 months, between August 2011 and November 2011. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just, I don't know what else to say to that. Other than I think that Joe Helle's being totally disingenuous here, and he is playing some type of partisan politics here because he thinks he's got the right on his side as far as being right, and he isn't. He's wrong. And Let America Vote, and Common Cause, and Indivisible Guy, when they talk about voter suppression, they are wrong about this. 180 degrees out of step with this. And again, I caution people, about these groups, these three groups I just mentioned, because they're George Soros funded groups. And George Soros and the Democrats have no interest in cleaning up the voter rolls at all to make sure that they're true and accurate as humanly possible. So again, I don't think Joe Healy has a leg to stand on here. And the more he's used as a tool by Common Cause and Let America Vote and Indivisible Guide and all these left-leaning groups to be the face of voter suppression of a veteran of a military personnel, military veteran, I think the worse it's going to look for him. And I honestly think that's going to hurt him in his general elections to get in the legislature of Ohio. But time will tell. Let me know what you think down in the comments on this video, folks. And again, this has been Dan Clements. I'm your host of the Dan Clements Show. Remember, if you aim at nothing, you hit it every time. Have a great rest of the day, folks, and we'll see you in the next video.